Thank you, and good morning. So I'd like to kick this off by asking all of you a simple question. When's the last time you went online? Okay, so was it this morning? Was it just a minute ago? You're probably actually online right now. And you may be wondering, what does he mean with going online? Because in fact, we don't think about it that way anymore. Most of us don't go online anymore. We obviously live online. And if you think back to the late 90s, if you lived in Germany in the late 90s, you may still remember Boris Becker asking the question, bin ich schon drin? That seems like a different era, and it is. Because of course, we don't distinguish between offline and online. We are pretty much connected to the web all the time, and oftentimes with multiple devices at the same time. Now, much of that change is happening because of the mobile revolution. And I would say that mobile is driving the biggest change to consumer behavior since the beginning of the web. And we see this every day at Google when we look at how people use our Google products. Let me give you a couple of examples. Mobile search volume has surpassed desktop search volume in 10 of our large countries, including the US and Japan. And Germany is following very quickly. And the same is true for YouTube. Significantly more than 50% of YouTube watch time takes place on mobile devices. And by the way, according to a study by Millward Brown, Germans spend more time looking at their smartphones than they spend watching TV. So that's an interesting data point. Our phones are pretty much an extension of ourselves. They're not just there for making calls. And if you think about how often you reach for them, and we can see this through our Android platform, how often people open their phones, most people do this significantly more than 100 times a day. So let's look at a couple of these potential moments. You may do this to text your spouse or to check on time. You may do it to look for your next appointment date, etc., etc. And these moments are very relevant to you. The question is, are these moments equally relevant to advertisers? And I would argue that that's not necessarily so, because some of the times that you're using your smartphone, you actually want to get something very specific done. And if brands advertise in these moments where you're actually not interested in an ad, it may work to the detriment of brands. But then there are lots of moments where it's very relevant for you to actually be connected to an information that's important at that moment. And we call these micromoments because they are the moments where you are looking for an answer. There are the moments when you're trying to discover something new, and they're the moments when you want to make a decision or even a purchase. So these moments, in our minds, are the new battlegrounds for hearts, for minds, and for euros. They are the moments that matter. And what makes these moments interesting is consumer intent. It's the fact that the consumer is trying to achieve something that is commercially relevant right there and then. Preferences are shaped and decisions are made in these moments. And they can span from the smallest things, like, say, you look for a local restaurant or you want to buy a movie ticket, or they can be pretty significant moments in terms of financial impact, like booking a trip or figuring out how much of a house you can afford. Now, in our always-on world, there are no longer just a few moments of truth for brands. There are actually countless moments that matter for the consumer. And the trick, of course, is figuring out what these moments are and how you can use them as an advertiser. And the big change here is that these moments are driven not so much by what sits on your desks, but by what sits in your pocket. And it's the mobile devices that are really changing how we think about these moments. Those companies that understand people's intent and that understand how they can address that intent in the right moment are going to win. And understanding intent is pretty much what makes Google, Google. Our job has always been to connect people with what they're looking for in the exact moment that they're looking. It's why people search on Google billions of times every day. And obviously, many of these searches are related to products or services, to commercial intent. When we launched the first search ads, they were successful because for the first time, ads were tied to consumer intent. Then, as now, they delivered what the consumer was looking for at the right moment in time. So what's most important in these moments isn't actually age or gender. It's not even what website you're on. It's what intent you have and that you get an immediate answer to your intent. So while it may be interesting to know demographics, it may be interesting to know what age I have or where I went to school, actually, from your perspective, from an advertiser's perspective, it's much more interesting to know that I'm in the market for a product right now. In addition to who is searching and to what they're looking for, mobile obviously has unlocked another very important signal, and that's where they are searching. Search interest in the words "near me" has increased 34 times since 2011, and it has doubled last year. Not surprisingly, the vast majority of these "near me" searches come from mobile, 80% in Q4 2014. So knowing a user's location provides you with a meaningful opportunity to deliver a relevant answer and to deliver a relevant ad at that point in time. Many examples, just a couple of them. Car companies obviously use location to not only show their brand, but to show the dealer that's closest to you in a particular moment in time. We have lots of retailers that use location to not only show you the closest shop, but to show you the physical inventory they have in that shop. So what's actually physically available in the store. Local search provides a great opportunity to deliver a locally relevant answer at a moment that matters to the consumer. 50% of the people who conduct a local search for a particular store on their phones visit that store within a day. 50% actually visit the store. And 18% of those searches lead to a purchase within 24 hours. So there's a very short cycle between interest, looking up a store, walking to the store, and making a purchase. Now, in this new mobile world, location isn't the only thing that's new. Mobile has also completely changed the way we all consume video. Mobile video has become the new default solution for many moments, including those where you're looking for advice on how to do something. We call these the how-to moments, whether it is how to change a tire on your bike, how to get a new workout routine, how to pick up a new language, or millions of other activities that used to require a pretty significant review, maybe of an instruction manual, or worse still, maybe a call to a customer service center. You can now figure this out by going and looking at an online video that helps you. And it's obvious that smartphone users do turn to their phones for ideas when trying to solve a given task. So, not surprisingly, more than 65% of how-to content watched on YouTube happens on smartphones and tablets. And the number of YouTube searches related to this type of how-to educational content is up 70% year over year. All of these are great moments to tell your company's and your brand's story, assuming that you have relevant content. 5 years ago, we challenged ourselves to make video advertising just as accountable as search advertising. And we introduced a format called TrueView. And TrueView ads are those ads that are skippable. They're pre-roll ads. And you see them on YouTube, and after 5 seconds, as a consumer, you can make a choice whether you want to continue watching them or whether you want to skip them. Much like search ads, they're anchored on user intent, on relevance, and on choice. Brands pay nothing if people don't choose to watch. So when we introduced TrueView, many people said we're crazy. Who would want to watch an ad? What's that all about? But in fact, they do, millions of times every day. And we know that these ads aren't just popular, we know that they actually work, and we can measure this. For instance, we can measure it by seeing how organic search volume changes after people see a TrueView ad. And we have surveys for that. We've actually looked at over 800 such brand lift studies, and we found that 2/3 of all YouTube TrueView campaigns drive a significant lift in brand interest, with an average of 13% brand interest increase. We see similar results in lift of awareness and ad recall. So if you're a brand advertiser who wants to know, is this working for my brand, there's actually lots of, not just research, but actual data for your particular campaign that can demonstrate that to you. Now, that's TrueView, that's video ads. How does that connect to shopping? Because I know many of you are in the shopping world. Well, the good news is, if you like video ads and shopping, we have a format for you, and you see it here on the slide. It's called shoppable TrueView ads, and it allows you to add your product details and shopping links to a video content. Now, looking through the list of companies here at NOAH, I know that most of you are trying to grow your businesses not just in one market, but obviously globally. That's the beauty of the web. Cross-border e-commerce and global trade is a big deal, but it also can seem quite complicated when you start with it. What are the right markets to go after? How do you reach your customers effectively and efficiently as you scale internationally? How do you do that without creating lots of complexity internally? Well, we think we can support you on both of those questions. First, we have lots of tools that can help you identify attractive global markets based on search trends, based on CPCs, based on customer behavior and other factors. And second, we have lots of tools that help you take your campaigns international, to translate them, to adjust them to international markets without having to do all the work that you've already done for one market again. For companies here in Germany, for German-speaking companies, I should say, we've launched a portal called Weltweit Wachsen. And that's a very helpful area for you to figure out what are the specific market attractiveness factors. You can input the business that you're in, and you can create basically a go global plan online. You can find information on payment options, on shopping, on international tax, etc. This is a really interesting place if you're trying to scale your business to multiple markets. By the way, Weltweit Wachsen, we have folks upstairs who are also happy to talk to you about that. There's a booth next to the coffee place, and if you're interested in taking your business to other markets, please go talk to them. Speaking about global reach, it's about making it simple. It's about having the tools and adapting your campaigns to global, but it's also obviously about just volume and scale. And we have, through our various platforms, reached to quite significant numbers. So through our platforms, we reach 2.9 billion people across the globe every month. Now that's a lot of moments that matter if you want to touch them. And these platforms are all global in nature. We build them globally right away so that you don't have to do all the hard work if you want to go from one country to 5 to 10 to 50. And I'm proud to say that we work with many of you in the audience on that particular topic of going global. It still seems complicated if you don't have the right tools. The good news is we have a tool called Doubleclick that many of you use that helps you not only access Google inventory, it helps you access all sorts of inventory on the web. And you see many of the inventory sources here on this slide. So the good news there is you can manage it all in one place. You can use your data, your customer intelligence and your customer data in one place and make all the attribution work across channels very seamless. So NOAH is obviously the conference for growth companies from Europe, and that's great. And we think in order for you to grow your business, there's a couple of things that you may want to consider. One, really identify those moments that matter for your consumer. It's not just about being there all of the time, it's about having moments that matter for your consumer, and you want to identify them and win. Not every moment is created equal in the consumer's minds. Two, deliver on the consumer needs in those moments. So it's not just about putting an ad in front of them. Obviously, you have to deliver value and meet a specific need. And if you do capture the attention, make sure you know what to do with the attention. Make sure that you have relevant content. And three, achieve scale by going global. How do you do that? You need platforms that work globally, and we're happy to help you using those platforms and addressing the right international markets for your business. So in short, when I look at all the logos on the screen, I see lots of companies that want to grow and want to go global. We're happy to be your partner on that. We want to work with you on making your business even more successful. Thank you very much.